have a lot of day hops.
Okay, I'm going to call the Utilities Commission meeting to order.
Have a lot of day hops.
Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of the Utilities Commission meeting of February 18th, 2014. So are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the minutes of the previous meetings?
I'll move to accept it as submitted.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Let the record show that it was passed unanimously. Cash on hand and in the banks for the Utilities Commission, the total cash on hand is $863,109.80. We also have in the capital funds water and sewer hookup category $77,150. Payment of bills.
I make a motion to pay the bills for the Utilities Commission.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let the record show that it is passed unanimously. Mr. Sipes' report, he is not present. He phoned in or was phoned in and reported that he had nothing to report. So we're going to move along.
What did he say he was going to do?
He said he had nothing to report, really. He's just been dealing with the weather.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's not coming in.
I thought he missed at least 10 or 15 minutes.
I thought he said he's not going to report, like it was just a
No.
busy client.
And then the last item is questions or comments. I'm assuming that's from the mayor and council. So do we have questions for Mr. Sipes, maybe via Mr. Ingersoll?
Yeah, any questions for Mr. Sipes? I'm channeling Mr. Sipes right now. Really, there's been way less burst lines and things since the really hard freezing stopped. The snows, he's actually chipped in and helped us, our street crew with the snows too, so he's just that kind of guy. Stays
Okay.
busy.
So if there's no more questions or comments, we're going to move along to the mayor and council meeting. Our first,
We're going to adjourn this one.
okay, yes, that's true.
I'll move to adjourn the Utilities Commission meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? It is unanimously adjourned. Okay, so we are now officially be starting the mayor and council meeting. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of the mayor and council meeting of March 4th, 2014. Also the pre-bid minutes of February 28th, 2014. The bid opening for the Marina Engineering of March 7th, 2014, and the public meeting for C1 Commercial District of March 10th, 2014.
I move that we accept all the minutes as submitted.
I agree. I read them all, actually. I second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Do we have
It is passed unanimously.
the bid minutes?
Cash on hand and in the banks. Our total cash on hand for unrestricted use is $1,847,256.86. We also have in a restricted use category the $200,000 Washington College donation. So the total funds on hand are $2,047,256.86. Our next item of business is the payment of bills.
I'll move we pay the bills as submitted.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have unanimously paid the bills. Next item is our police report. Chief Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'd just like to sign up for this phone-in option if I might.
So wouldn't we all? Especially on St. Patrick's Day.
Very good. I'd like to review the statistics for the month of February 2014. With administration, we had 49 hours. That was 4% of our time. Criminal investigations, 72 hours, 14% of our time. Our accident investigations were 15 hours, yielding 2%. Our vehicle patrol was 692 hours, which was 54%. Our foot patrol was 63 hours, which was 6%. Training was 42 hours, 4%. Court was 3 hours, which was 1%. And finally, overtime was 72 hours, which was 6%. We had 13 adult arrests in the month of February, and that resulted in 24 separate charges. Broken down, that was 6 FOA, 5 DWI related, 4 traffic, and 3 each under the categories of assault, bad checks, and CDS. We had 0 juvenile arrests in February, and we issued 2 civil citations, both of which were for mules. Part 1 offenses, we had 6. We cleared 1 by arrest. Part 2 offenses, we had 12, and we cleared 7 by arrest. We issued 38 motor vehicle citations. We issued 213 motor vehicle warnings, and our red speed camera cited 204 citations. We had 1 criminal citation. The overtime pie, as I call it, was broken down. I'll pass that around. While you review that, I'll continue with our statistics for the wards broken down. We had 1% of our calls in Ward 1, 51% in Ward 2, 16 in Ward 3, and 22 in Ward 4. We are large. Busiest day of the week is Friday, and our busiest time for calls for service is between 3 and 4 o'clock. And just would like to point out 2 upcoming things. Number 1, myself and the office staff are going to take a first aid class tomorrow. It came to my mind that many times people come into the police station for help. It hasn't happened yet, but I expect that one day that might be some person in need of medical help. I was formerly trained at the EMT level, but I've not kept that up, and my 2 assistants in the office had no first aid, so we think that's an important thing to do, so we're going to do that tomorrow. And secondly, on Thursday, our police new building committee meets, and we're progressing right along. We've broken into 2 different committees, and we will have some specific sites recommended for consideration on Thursday. And I'm hoping in another 2 or 3 meetings we'll be able to pretty much have what we need to put a report together and make a recommendation.
Sounds good.
Is the former All-State building, the one that's right across from the firehouse next to Dollar General, is that being considered by any chance, or is that too small?
I haven't heard that specifically recommended,
Okay.
but I would say that we're considering everything that's possible.
Okay.
I wouldn't rule anything out, but off the top of my head, I think that might be a bit small.
Okay.
I just wanted to make a comment, and I think that's probably true, is that it used to be, you had to go, if you had a court day, you had to go in there and sit there forever, but now people on motor vehicle citations have to request a court day, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's, because many times you sit in there and everybody either didn't show up or...
Correct, you spend a lot of hours for nothing.
Yeah, that seems a very small amount of court time, 3 hours, but I can understand why. If when you guys get them, they get good and they don't require a court date.
That would be one interpretation.
I'd like to ask about the ratio of vehicle patrol to foot patrol.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand in the wintertime, but I haven't been here through finer weather yet.
Yes, ma'am.
Does that change in the summer? Do we see
I
more
would tell
foot
you
patrol?
probably the highest we've ever, and it's kind of our goal, is 10%. I don't think it has gone below 5 or 6. But again, it's relative to how many hours we work in that month. So probably a better figure would be the actual hours per month that we do. Like 1 month I may report to you that our foot patrol was 6%, and the next month it may be 8%, but indeed it might be the exact same hours because it's relevant to how many overall hours that we work. But it seems expanding on foot patrol, I mean, I think it's certainly an important part of our duties, if for no other reason to be seen. But foot patrol is not just walking. I mean, and my officers have been educated on that. I have a whole little manual on really what is involved in foot patrol. And it's actually somewhat extensive if you're doing what you're supposed to do rather than just going for a walk. But it's very important, and I acknowledge that. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving right along, our next item is the town manager's report. Mr. Bill Ingersoll.
Just a few things. I see Ernie's out in the crowd. I just want to acknowledge him and his helping put the Bluebird boxes up. Was it the timing right, Ernie? The timing was perfect?
Perfect.
Have you seen any activity yet? Have they found it? Any of the boxes?
I have not observed any at this point.
Yeah, too snowy.
Hoping.
Too snowy, but that was great. Thank you for all your help. Taste of the Town, Sunday, April 27th, noon to 3 p.m. That's a really nice event, and a lot of work goes into it, and I guess this is the earliest announcement to let everybody know that's coming. The NEA grant, we had one bid for that. Linda opened the bids for the town, and I don't have the bid right now, but the bid was within budget, and a fabulous company that does this. In fact, it was under budget. So we'll have that for you, and perhaps we could have Case come in and explain sort of what's involved after you authorize it. But I will say that that's a matching bid. I think it was around $40,000. So the town match would be around $20,000 instead of the $25,000.
Is this for the playscape?
This is for the Riverwalk Art scape, excuse me. We also had a really good marina bid opening, and we're still tabulating the bids. It's incredibly close. I'll read you these bids. DMS, and these are all local bids, and this is a happy sort of problem. DMS Associates does a lot of work in this area from Centerville, $39,950. Lane Engineering from Centerville also, $40,000. Our grant amount, keep in mind our grant amount was $40,000. McCrone, Centerville, does a lot of work for us, presently doing our Gateway Park and did the rail trail, $39,990. So, and the bids are good. They have a lot of stuff to go through. The tabulation shows one ahead of the others, and I'm not going to mention that till the total tabulation is done. The bids have to be concurred by DNR. They have to concur, so the tabulation will go to them, and when I come back to the next meeting, we'll be recommending one of those three bids. They're so close that money is not the issue here. And I told all three bidders, you're welcome to see the other bids. They're public now. But I'm very happy with what we got out of it. I told you that we had a good pre-bid meeting, and in that, some of the engineers expressed concern that there's not enough money to do a lot of things. But I think the important thing to the council is that we play with site plans, we involve the public, and everybody has a stake in how the marina ends up and what the marina does or doesn't do, and how big the marina is and how it functions. So that'll result in a fun sort of public open process.
Yeah, so I was going to tag along and say, whenever we choose this bid winner and agree on it, the next step would be to establish the first of two public charrette-style meetings with the firm present to basically help us make the decisions we need to make on what we envision doing at the marina so that we can attach a price tag and start actually getting the rehabilitation going.
With all the stakeholders there, the restaurant, the marina, the gentleman who runs the marina for us now, and the community.
Yep.
You know, what does the community think the marina is supposed to do? And again, I think the stumbling block years ago with the marina being improved was how far out should the docks go? And obviously there's the dredging function that's in this too. So anybody who wants to look at those certainly can. A couple of things since the last meeting. I want to say that Sam helped us with the website.
Oh, can we just stick with the marina for a second?
Yeah.
I wasn't clear from reading the minutes of the meeting whether the proposals from the engineering study, for the engineering study, included raising the elevation of the area or not, or studies about the engineering.
Some do and some don't.
Raising the elevation to deal with the frequent flooding down
The
there.
RFP did. And that's, again, you're welcome to see that. I wrote that myself. The RFP did cover that, at least in a format of early site planning, yes. But not all bids, not all
Addressed
bidders
it?
did.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a lot.
Fairly tight RFP if they all come in so very close to.
Well, I think they would have, if I had said it was 60,000, they'd come in very
Yeah,
close to 60.
exactly.
If I'd said it was 80.
Everybody knew our
There's a
plan.
lot in here, but, and it's sort of a leap of faith for one or two engineers to say, I'd like to work with the town. There may be construction details later on. This would design the docks, design the bulkheads, design the ramps, but it doesn't do all the construction documents for the raising of the site. It would give us those schematics and early ones, like we recommend we raise it. And of course, I don't want to say this without saying, of course, we would involve the restaurant in that and our own buildings there, too. They may have to be elevated or thought has to be given to that.
But they wouldn't give you a schematic that they didn't think they could flush out into a plan eventually.
Right. So, they're engineers, and
That's what I'm saying.
and they're thinking in terms of, okay, how many hours will this take? So I think we probably talked to about 9 engineering firms in the pre-bid meetings, 3, and they're local, so that tells you something too, stayed with the process.
Yeah.
And I think the tabulation really shows it. The early tabulation that we did shows it, and I think the one where I take the RFP and put every item in there and check across, are they doing this, this, and this? I think that's the best way to look at this.
And the company that wins this bid is ultimately going to be the one responsible for doing the construction?
The
as well, or
construction
just the
of the
design?
construction documents for the piers, the bulkheads, the launching ramps, and probably will have the upper hand in any future contracts that would involve the raising of the land, some complicated things. But there's an awful lot in one of these bids. It takes us an awful long way. And we need to have help along the way. Because the mayor and I were looking over some early documents that were done for the Sultana when they were looking at the thing that we have in the marina study. Some fabulous ideas. Not all of which you could do, but some, the people, they should be seen. So they can say, yeah, that's a nice feature, that little lawn area there or whatever it is I'm talking about. So, anyway, any other questions? Linda?
No.
Okay. Had that look. The website RFP, I sent it out to the council. Sam went right to work on it and made some suggested changes. I think everybody got a copy of it by email? No? Yes? I thought I sent it out.
You did, but
So
mine
some
didn't
did and
print
some
with all the
And that's
comments.
what time did it go out, today?
No.
Thursday?
Yeah, no, several.
Last Thursday? Anyway, I'd like to get it out soon. If you didn't get it, I'll send it out again if you want a paper version. This shows Sam's edited remarks, and he sort of brought it into the new age from 3 years ago, the new age now. So I think you did a good job. So I think we're ready to put it out again.
So when will that be going out?
That'll be going out as soon as you all look at it and say, that's pretty good.
Jim, could you put hard copies in our boxes?
Sure.
Because my printer didn't like that document
Okay.
for some reason.
Okay.
I can't see what's new and what's old, and
Did we put a price in it, Sam? Did you notice? I wrote these 3 years ago, and I don't think we did.
No.
No. We get a price.
you mean a maximum?
Yeah.
I asked him earlier before the meeting if it had specifics in there for capability and make payments.
I'm just going to run and set it to print now so that you can have them before you leave tonight.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, towards the end of that document, it included language about the possibility of including that based on their recommendations.
And download permits.
But if not, I'm going to double check and be sure to include
Well,
that.
everyone should look at it and see if it has in it what
When's it going out?
It's going out when you all approve it.
Oh, okay.
And you can do that. You can send comments in, additions, and say, I'd really like it if this was in here, paying bills online or whatever. I think that's going to be some of the easier things.
I'd like us to set a goal of agreeing on this and improving the RFP by our next meeting, so that we have a
Sure.
That's a good goal.
timetable. Does everybody think you can get your comments back in 2 weeks?
Oh, yeah.
The next thing I think I can do this.
So what we would do is the next meeting, we would just officially resolve to issue the RFP.
Look at Sam's changes, add your own.
Yeah,
Then
we'll
I'll
have to look at the changes.
Yeah.
I'll send it back out to you again. And when you say it's ready, it'll be advertised.
And you are gonna make some hard copies too, right?
I think she's making.
Jen's doing it right now.
She's doing it right now. But let me know before the meeting if you want hard copies. Sometimes we put these things in your boxes, sometimes we assume that too much, I guess. This is one that I think Chris won't comment on, but I have had a request, and you all got a copy of this, I know, in your emails, because Liz made a change for the better. It's a letter to the Richard Hughes, Chief of the Office of Heritage County, Maryland Historical Trust. And I'll just read the first paragraph. On March 17, 2014, the Mayor and Council of Chestertown voted to express their enthusiastic support for the Sultana Education Foundation's capital grant application to the Storage of the Chesapeake Heritage Area and Maryland Heritage Areas Authority. The grant request supports construction and renovation of their new education center at 20204 South Cross Street in Chestertown. And it goes on to say some nice things about the Sultana Education Foundation and basically supports the grant application. Because of Chris's connection with that, I have my signature down there sort of saying that you as a group said this. Is that okay with everyone?
Absolutely.
Anyone care to make a motion?
I move that we send this letter of support
Yeah, absolutely.
for the Sultana
I'll
Foundation's
express
application.
Enthusiastic support for it before we.
Is that like a second?
I'll second it, sure.
Any,
This is going to be
any
something
comment?
really important downtown.
Okay.
Excuse me.
All four? Okay. Thank you. I'll go out tomorrow. The last thing I have is, probably should be brought up by either Marty or Liz. They worked very hard on this ordinance 1/2014, establishing Charter 71 elections. And
I
guess I
think Liz
better-
volunteered to lead the discussion, and she's did an awful lot of work on it after.
My voice will hold out.
did everybody get it? Did
I
everybody?
sent it to everyone on Friday afternoon late.
Should have paper copies today.
And I'm going to have a hard copy.
So we all had an early draft from Marty for an ordinance on campaign finance disclosure, which we discussed 2 weeks ago. I received comments just from Sam, I think. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how well I'm going to be able to do this. Marty and I met with Jen on Friday afternoon, and we also had the issue of the last election in which we had so many candidates for the mayor's position. I'm sorry. That we wanted to develop a method for deciding an election when there were so many candidates. So Jen, who knows all things procedural relating to ordinances, suggested that we need a new chapter in the code book dealing with elections, because at the moment the only guidance we have about election is very minimal, and it's in the charter of the town. So what, Marty, I think you're,
I'll go ahead and basically what we did was what was in the ordinance before, but we made some suggested changes by the council and our discussions. And the main part of those is we eliminated a bunch of the reporting. You do it 2 weeks before and 10 days afterwards. And if there's a runoff election, then you don't do that middle one, you do it 10 days after the last election. So what it amounts to is you're making two reports, one 2 weeks before and one 10 days after the final election. We also changed the fact that in the original draft that I put in, you had to have, of course you had, the person running for council or mayor had to be a resident, but so did the treasurer. We changed that, and you just have to be a Kent County resident. most of the other parts of it, except, we really worked very hard on making sure that we don't end up with coin flipping. If there's a tie, there will be a runoff election for any, not just mayor, but full council people. Certainly,
Sorry.
and if there's more than 4 people running for any office, and nobody gets 35% of the vote, then we have a runoff election. And I think we all agreed when we discussed it here as a council, that's the only really fair way to do it. We don't want a mayor or a council person with less than 20% of the people supporting it. Basically, I think that's, I don't want to
That's about
go over
it.
this. Everybody's had a chance to read, and they certainly can make some comments if they want to make some changes.
I'll make one comment. I think we want to make sure that in the purpose that we note, okay, now you have, that we actually cite the part of the charter
Right.
in section 2 where it comes from, where the ability to do this comes from. I think I said that last meeting, but otherwise.
Is that it?
It says the provisions of the charter, but I think there's a
You can cite the
specific-
site.
There's a
Yeah,
section in the charter that
Okay.
says the council has,
And that allows you to do this, which I think this is fantastic, that we can actually have an ordinance about elections to supplement what we've done in the past.
Did you get that, Jen?
Shoot.
I did.
Now,
So-
we're not introducing this tonight, we're just...
You can have the first reading tonight, you can do that, and
if this is the first reading, then we approve it in 2 weeks from today.
you can, or it can...
We have
it's
60
any
days.
6 to 60 days
Right.
you have, so mull it over, and then the public gets a chance to review it.
Well, we have looked at it quite a bit. I would be for going... When we say first reading, do we really have to read this?
No, we don't.
No, 'cause
We don't have to read it out loud word for word.
And then,
it's 10 pages long, so even though we had a fast...
we'll all go get a drink and come back and listen to you finish it up.
With her voice the way it is, we took turns. By the time we got around...
I think it's good. We reduced the number of reports required from, I think it was 4 or 5 to 2. If there's a runoff election, the 2 candidates who are in the runoff do not have to submit their final financial report until after the runoff, which is a month after the general election. I think it's simple. I think it fits a town the size of Chestertown. I think,
I would suggest we introduce it tonight as the first reading with the amendment that Bill citing the actual section of the
of the
ordinance.
charter that gives us the power to create ordinances.
Yep.
Is that a
Jen, you
do
can
we need a
insert that,
motion?
right? That's
Oh,
just
of course.
boilerplate. Yeah.
No, not a motion for tonight. I'll just get the public notice ready and try and make it for the deadline for Thursday. And then we'll be ready to
And
go.
does that mean it has to be available for public?
It will be.
So we should have all
do that right away.
the forms
I'll
that are
attach the
attached.
forms.
and-
Put that on the
And
website.
even if it doesn't get in this week, it can go in next week, and you can actually, after you pass it, there's still a time period when people can make comments, so your second ad can be then. So we're saying we pass this, and you still have a time period for comment. And you can change it right up until you enact it.
Right. So if you have any second thoughts, let me know. If it gets enacted, we'll all be working under this ordinance in the next election.
A lot of this ordinance for the people, it looks real thick, but a lot of it is definitions.
Yes,
and,
that's all.
little
And
things
forms.
that we had to get in there.
Good forms, new forms, yep.
What we discussed here tonight basically is what the ordinance is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've officially initiated the first reading. We're going to post this on the website, and then we will, in theory, be able to approve this officially at our next meeting.
Should be, as long as I can get,
This is,
And
yeah.
with
So do you
Kent
have to
County
put a
News.
legal announcement in the
Yes.
paper?
yeah.
Yeah, this
But we can do
Thursday
that.
or the following Thursday, as long as
Yeah.
it's one before you enact it,
Oh, okay.
all right?
Yep. Then we'll be good.
All right.
And I'll put it online as
This is
well.
a kind of random but somewhat related question. Is our next meeting on the 7th?
Yes.
So we actually
Yeah.
skip...
We have a little
Yeah.
bit more time.
Right.
Yeah, there's an
That'll
extra
feel
week.
weird, getting used to having once a week.
I know. All right. We ready to move on?
I'm done, thanks. That
Okay.
completes my report.
Okay, the mayor's report. I will try to be as brief as I can. The first order of business is we did have an additional public meetings violation complaint relating to the very first meeting of the Chestertown Revitalization Task Force on March 22nd, 2013. I was present at this particular meeting in my previous role as chairman of the planning commission. The town council was invited. Several members of the college were present. We basically talked generally about what the task force was going to do. They asked us for some feedback about general thoughts about Chestertown. The finding, I'm just going to read what I feel is the most pertinent paragraph of the finding, showing that in fact this should have been, again, a public meeting. Here the compliance board says, the minutes of the March 22nd meeting show active participation by a quorum of the council members in a discussion about the uses that might be made of waterfront property in the town. This discussion was town business, and we therefore find that the council met at the task force meeting. As the council did so without giving notice of a council meeting, we conclude that the council violated the notice provisions of the act. The announcement at the March 18th council meeting that the council members were invited to attend did not serve as notice to the public that others could attend. So I believe I am officially required to apologize on behalf of the town again for violating the Public Meetings Act. We did provide redacted minutes from this meeting to, I believe it was the Kent County News and also the state. They did rule that it was within our rights to redact certain portions of the meeting because those in attendance were not aware that they were at a public meeting. So I am really hoping that this ends the public meetings violations from this previous task force initiative. So is there any?
When was this received?
I received this in my mailbox. It's dated February 27th, but I didn't actually read this till last week.
But we weren't notified. I mean, other than right now.
I didn't even get it. And then I realized that the law says that we need to admit to this by the next meeting. So that's why it's read tonight.
Would you like the copy?
Yes.
There you go.
And by the way, we have to, the majority of the council has to sign that and send it back to the open meetings board. So while you're looking at it, you might as well sign it.
This
Even
one
though we
right
weren't
here?
on the council at the time of the
A
meeting?
majority. We need 3 signatures.
I'd be
We
happy
can
to
get
sign
three.
it.
Where
I
do
was
you want-
there, so I have no
I was there
problem.
too.
Where do we sign?
Oh, the opinion. You're supposed to sign the.
I'm just put out because I didn't get
I
paid
would
for the
sign,
council meeting.
just, on that.
I'm right there with you, Mark. Okay,
here on
is
the
there anything
front.
else that I'm legally obliged to say about this?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
That was pretty well done.
Okay, just a couple things that didn't get on the agenda. I just want to give everyone an update. We did have our first Christmas in Chestertown, Colonial Christmas. That's just a working name. I don't know if that's officially going to be the name of the weekend. The weekend we're looking at is December 5th and 6th. Our first meeting was a phenomenal turnout. We had, I think, 25 people there from all different parts of the community. We have a really nice and growing itinerary. And the reason I'm saying this is because we have our second meeting where I hope to really firm up the itinerary on Monday, this coming Monday, the 24th at 7 o'clock here at the second floor of Town Hall. So anybody is welcome to attend. I will be inviting those that were in attendance at the last meeting to hopefully come back. And it should be a really neat event, and there's a lot of people doing some really neat things. And hopefully I can send the proposed itinerary to the press, and we can start publicizing this as another new, neat winter event in the community. This is a new development. I've been emailing with one of Peter Francho's staff member, the comptroller for the state of Maryland. He would like to come to Chestertown to talk to our town leaders and leaders in the business community. The date that they would like to come is Tuesday, May 6th. And it would be great if we could have him come speak to our community leaders on the second floor of Town Hall. So I put that out there as a date, hoping that you all will attend.
What time?
2 o'clock is the tentative time that we set up. So Tuesday, May 6th at 2 o'clock, Mr. Francho will be coming to discuss various issues in the state of Maryland. And lastly, as you all know, many of you know, we had our first business forum with the first of a series of 3 of these forums with members of our C1 General Commercial District at the Big Mix. It was a really gracious of Jamie to lend us his locale. I had said when we talked about the Revitalization Task Force report that we wanted to do these for each of our commercial districts. So what I'd like to do tonight, if possible, is set a date for our next forum with the C2 Commercial District, which is essentially our downtown merchants and storefront owners. So if it was up to me, I would just want it to be the Monday between our regularly scheduled meetings. I don't know if that works for everybody else.
Throw out a date. What date?
The date would be the 14th, Monday, April 14th.
April.
It doesn't work for, I will be out of town. I'm in Passover that time.
Okay.
I have family that celebrates that holiday, and I haven't missed it for 20 years, and I can't miss
Just
it.
can't miss it, I understand. Can everybody else make that date?
This is Ward.
This is Ward 2.
And
This
we'll
is your
meet
ward.
here,
I would think we would want to meet here in the second floor of Town Hall.
7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
4:14, 7 PM.
That's going to be on the 14th, is that right?
Yes.
When do you get back, Marty?
Pardon?
When do you get back?
I don't get back till the next morning, next day, or noon time. Because it goes till late in the evening.
Okay, so that date's going to be Monday, April 14th, 7 PM, second floor of Town Hall. We will do the same thing that we did with our last forum, where we'll send invitations to all of the folks here in C2. And I've already kind of given DCA a heads up, and they're going to help drum up the turnout, hopefully, and we'll see how it goes. But really, the main purpose of these meetings, you know, we didn't really have any agenda at the last one. It's really more of a, I don't want to say informal, but it's really, I envision these as more of a roundtable discussion where our business community has a chance to meet the new members and the current members of the council, and we can just start a dialogue between us about the business climate in this part of the community and what, if anything, we as a town government can do to assist to make this as vibrant a downtown as we can.
What's the, I guess it would be the northern limit of C2 on High Street?
I would have to look
Extends
into
up
that.
basically to,
Social services,
yeah,
don't you think? Yeah,
Social
then it
service?
becomes RB.
No.
No, on the, across the street where JR's is.
That's the northern limit of C2?
Well, I mean, it's
Okay.
the downtown.
Okay.
The gas station over here and north is C1, but from here over to Cannon Street and
High
up
Street
a
and Cannon
block,
Street,
yeah,
across the street.
and down a block is all C2.
right here.
It's a pretty nice zoning map out there, and it's all color coded.
Okay,
Sydney gonna distribute the flyer?
Yep, I'll get them ready tomorrow too.
fantastic. All right, that is the end of my report, which brings us to ward reports.
Well, it's a
Liz,
good,
can you make it through?
it's a good thing. Everything's quiet in the first ward once again.
Is that your report?
He's got this thing, he can't go to the right, I guess.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, Marty.
It's first four.
It's numerical, Marty, it's nothing
Keep me here,
personal.
Is that it?
The last shall be
I
first.
don't mind going last.
First shall be last.
Mine shouldn't take more than an hour and a half.
Remind me at the beginning of the next meeting, I always just go by the numbers. Okay, on to Ward 2.
Okay, I checked out the sidewalks, seeing people didn't shovel the snow.
We'll send Case out tomorrow morning and hope the sun doesn't melt it.
And I had asked some time ago if there could be a sign at the, on the bypass over to the rail trail that's not finished,
Oh, to no
along the side of the
access?
rescue squad.
Yeah.
Can we do that,
Yes,
please?
yes.
Now,
I think we sent a letter to MTA about getting their permission to do that, and I haven't heard from them.
okay,
Also about their timetable for turning that easement, that lease over to us so we can continue with Phase 4. No answer.
Okay. Do we need to talk about the college corner? No?
I don't know what you mean.
You had sent out an email to see if we all agreed on giving the corner, not giving the corner, selling the corner to the college.
That college corner.
You think, I'm harping on the others, on the big one so much.
There's a fragment of land at the northern end of the old College Avenue, which became Gibson Avenue and then was closed and turned over to the college. I sent this out to the council. So this little triangle shows up, and the college noticed it in their surveying and asked, would we give it to them for $1? It's tiny. It's a remnant of College Avenue, and for anybody who's curious, I'll send that out to you. I asked the college to survey that and send the documents to the town council, and that's when I was really going to bring it up, when they had the survey and showed that it was a vestigial piece of an old road that was closed long ago. We actually turned Gibson Avenue over to the college, where the old health department was. I'm sorry to use, the terms of the past, but when that was turned over, that road became theirs too. I went back and got a 1958 aerial photograph and showed it to the council, so you could see where they really did turn right there. The right southern traffic on 213 would sort of merge there.
So what do we need to do? Do we
You
need
don't
to
need to do
formally?
anything. I think that I tried to give you advance notice on it so that when we brought the paperwork first, we wouldn't have to go through this. The regular process in the charter for getting rid of excess property is to declare it surplus and then either offer it to the neighbors or put it up for sale. And that comes up from time to time, and sometimes we just sell surplus property, but we pass an ordinance to do that. In this case, it's a fragment. I think you can justify that it was meant to be turned over with Gibson/College Avenue, but was not.
All right, you read my comment. If we don't give it to them, they might stop mowing it, and we'd have to go up there and clean that little piece of crap.
Normally, they would have it by adverse possession, but you can't really get adverse possession from a municipality. But,
I'm sure it's worth
no
more than $1.
squatter's rights there.
Get
Okay, so that
$5.
paperwork will be forthcoming at some
I
point?
think you'll probably see it in the next couple of months.
Okay.
It wasn't hurting anybody, and we weren't about to build something there.
No, it's a small little.
Police station.
Anything else, Linda?
Yes. I took our farmers market brochures to the Department of Tourism on Friday and gave them some, and already this year, it's only the middle of March, they have sent out, mailed over 3,000 pieces of mail, and they only mail to people who call and email to the Department of Tourism. So it's only the middle of March, and they've already, Bernadette was very happy that this was lightweight, and she would want some more copies to go out in mailings, and I'll find out tomorrow night, because I will remind them, Commissioner Pickeram, what he said Saturday morning in the park, that the county commissioners might foot the bill for printing some to go out in the mailings, the requests that come to the Department of Tourism. So we've printed 1,000, we have them distributed, and it's been really, really nice that we've gotten some emails. People know that they've been printed now, and if they can have them in their stores, and the realtors. So just wanted to let you know.
Another place you might put them, last fall I had occasion to be up at the Holiday Inn Express for an event, and they have one of those stands with all the brochures for visitors. There was not one brochure on that stand.
We'll take some out
for Chestertown. It was all for Hershey Park and St. Michael's and Cambridge and everywhere else except Chestertown, and I was horrified. So put some up there.
We've had 2 meetings for the revitalization of Fountain Park, and I think we have 2 more.
How are they going?
Good.
Good input, some good ideas?
We'll see. I have my gang there, so
All right.
to make sure we don't get relocated.
I hear you. Okay. Ward 3.
Mostly isolated stuff. people emailing me, things to look into, so mostly just communicating with Bill. But for the most part, everything seems to be going well. Of course, a lot of my time is just being spent on this document here. And seeing, of course, what's happening with Rock Hall too. They just are about to put out their bid for their new website as well. And of course, if I'm not mistaken, Galena has put out theirs as well. In fact, they might be under contract already. So it's just nice to see that the entire county is really taking steps to move forward and honestly just get with the times. So I'll be sure to go over this document again. And if you guys have any other questions or input, definitely let me know as well, and we can go over it for sure. So, but other than that, that's about it for me.
Ward 4.
Okay. First, let me address, I really don't like missing that meeting on
C2.
what is it? You don't call it, what do you call it?
C2.
C2, Commercial District.
Yeah.
Downtown.
I can't be there, and I think everybody knows sometimes you can't be at the meetings. But Jen takes good notes, and believe me, I'll pay attention to everything that's in there and try and be cognizant of what you need or what we can help you with. And while Ernie's here, I certainly want to pay a compliment to you, Ernie. Those Bluebird boxes were not up but hours, and I had 3 different people come to me and say what a great thing that was. It was nice to have it in the park, and it merely makes it look like a park, and they just fell all over themselves. So, and I've been hearing that since that time. I'm hoping somebody will come forth with a 20-foot pole with an osprey nest on top of it. I seriously am. I think it would be great while you're taking the kids out there if they could watch an osprey flying around too. So. I'm bringing this up now, and it's not because Bill and I have talked about this, and it's going to be corrected, but the town employees have been, needless to say, very, very busy doing lots of things, plus removing the snow. But I'm saying it now because anybody that's watching this, or maybe the paper will make note. When you come to Bailey Park and you park in the parking lot, for crying out loud, back up and go back out the driveway that you came in. Don't drive across the grass and leave those gigantic ruts, and then go up on the trail, which was not made for cars, and we've got some breaking of the trail at that area. Back up. Now, we're going to do something about that, so if you do it after we get it fixed, you're going to lose your transmission, so you think about not doing it. Finally, the Executive Committee of the Friends of the Chestertown Dog Park had a meeting, and I want to make it very clear that we are no part of this council. It's a non-profit corporation, and in the charter for that non-profit corporation, it says we raise funds in support of the dog park, and so it's not an open meetings violation because we're not part of it. We're like the garden club, they meet themselves, and we try to raise funds to help out with the maintenance of the dog park. And along those lines, we authorized the purchase, but in that charter that authorizes it, it says the running of the dog park is strictly by the town of Chestertown, and we would do nothing without permission of the town of Chestertown. And what we would like to do is purchase a outdoor bulletin board or message board to put up there at the dog park, and if you'll just pass that around. They cost $647. This is not taxpayers' money. This is Friends of Dog Park's money. And it'll probably be another $200 in shipping because it weighs 250 pounds. I think it's interesting. It's made out of recycled plastic because it's going into Bailey Park. And anybody that knew our former mayor realized that she wants to recycle the whole world, and this is going to be made out of something that's recycled. So it'd be very fitting. And it's in the right color. It's green, and it'll look nice. Now, the purpose for it is not only to put up information about the dog park and the animals and so forth. maybe some veterinarian would like to put a message in there, and then while we can't charge, we could certainly ask them for a donation, which would help with the maintenance of the dog park. I found it's amazing how many people in this county that come to that dog park that think because they have a rabies tag on their dog collar, it has been registered with the county. It's not. You're in violation of the law if you don't buy a Cape County dog tag. Now, they're only $5 and that's not a big deal. But if your dog gets loose and the county picks it up and you're in violation because you didn't do that, that's a big deal because you're going to pay dear for it. So this is two-purpose bringing this up tonight. People who don't have their little dog tag better go get one. And things of that nature we could put on that board and let people know what we're doing. I also think the Humane Society could, if they wanted to go to the trouble of coming to see me, would put it in there if they have dogs for adoption or something of that nature. I think it'll, and you got an audience that's interested in animals, or they wouldn't be there in the first place. So, I council's permission for us to buy this and to put it in the dog park.
Where do you want to put it?
You know where the entrance is? It'd be on the left-hand side as you're walking down.
Into the dog area?
Yeah, in the big wide area there.
Yeah.
Not where the rules are, but along the side there. I think eventually we need to put a bench across from it, because I have had requests from people who like to go to the dog park and watch other people's dogs. You know, they like to have a
Only in
dog themselves, but they don't want to pay for it.
That's a pedophile.
I noticed they were watching.
I don't think that should be allowed.
They were watching the little puppies more than they were the big dogs, so I don't know whether that's, no.
That's scary too.
The park is really, really, I was there Saturday for an hour or 2 hours, I guess. Sunday afternoon, and it was cold. It must have been 10 or 12 cars coming in and out of there with their dogs were coming in. So there's no doubt in my mind it's the most popular park we got at this time, year round. So I know when you're having a festival down in Wilmer, you get more people.
That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah.
All right, so do we need to vote on this?
I think you would.
Shouldn't you wait, don't you bring it up at one meeting and vote on it the next?
It's not our money, it's his money.
Oh, it's his money. I'm sorry, I missed.
We're spending Marty's money right now.
Spend it.
I don't think I could make the motion now.
I'll move that we approve the Friends of the Dog Park purchasing and installing this notice board in
Just the
Margot
placement,
Bailey
not
Park.
the payment of it. We take care of the payment, so.
Second. Can I second?
No, someone else has to second.
Second.
I don't get to do anything.
You know, you get to.
All those in favor?
I can vote for it, I think.
Any opposed?
Sticking with the dog park for just a second.
Sure.
Has there been any action on the little walkway or connecting to Heron Point to the park?
There will be, as soon as we get out of winter. My Masons are really excited to do that. They got the trail connection in off of Prospect Street, all except for the asphalt. They really did a nice job, and they're excited about this, and we've got it approved by Heron Point, and I think the residents are probably excited about it. But it's a larger job. We know the size pipe and everything, but you know, if we ever get spring.
Okay.
The good thing is when the warm weather comes, we won't be worried about snow on people's sidewalk anymore.
Anything else, Marty?
It'll be over. We got it done.
How much time we got? No, that's gotta be it. Thank you very
Okay.
much for that motion, and we'll get that in motion, and
This spring?
Alan has a chance to put it up, we'll put it up.
Cool. Okay, our last item before questions and comments is we have a request from the public to be on the agenda, Ms. Holly Geddes.
Hello, and thank you very much for giving me a moment. This is sort of one of those leftover from the campaign issues that I wanted to be able to address and kind of bring a statement to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
part of getting ready for the campaign last fall and asking people what their concerns were, the perception was that there's a parking problem in Chestertown. In a lot of places, perceptions are not reality, but in politics, I think they are. And the perception was that there's generally a need for parking near the shopping, near Sultana, especially the education venue that's going up, for employees who take up spots along the road instead of allowing them for customers. Residents who may go into apartments and stuff may need parking. And if and when Stepney is developed, there may be a need for additional parking there. In looking into it, it became clear that there is a piece of property that's pictured on the front of this that is owned already by the town, as is the lane that accesses that property. That's between the yellow building that used to be the Arts League and the pink building that I believe there's an accountant in at this point. And it's all owned by the town. It looks like there's an awful lot, if you look at it from the space shot, there's an awful lot of open space there. It's kind of tucked behind, so it's not a space that people readily see, but it's within a block of the corner of High and Cross, and within 2 blocks of the marina. So it seems like a good place to put a parking lot, especially since there are some things about it that are kind of cost effective. A certain amount of the property is already paved. Some of it's already being used for parking. The space between the 2 little houses is already being used for parking, and it's quite wide enough to put a lane going in and a lane coming out and a space along the side for a walkway. That could be even a nice brick, developed pretty, whatever, walkway. The current space is used for vehicular parking, the town parking, and for dump. And the neighbors that I talked to would much rather have even if it's mostly not used, parking place than dump stuff out in behind it. One neighbor in particular very much wants to see parking available in that area. To upgrade the pavement, paint the lines for abundant parking seems like an inexpensive way to handle this situation. The properties along Cannon have already put up trees that have been there for a number of years, so that the town would not have to pay for anything to block the view. And the space is invisible enough, that you could probably someday put in, and that's what the little pictures are on the bottom, some possible multi-layered parking area, and still not have it be visually obtrusive to what else is in town. So it's something that I just want you guys to consider and think about, and thank you very much.
So this is such a good idea that we're already kind of doing this. I don't know if you were aware of that.
I kind of knew that, but this is sort of going on the official record saying this is a suggestion and that you guys can continue doing it.
Yep.
And you're the heroes. And it works out.
Well, it must have come to several people at the same time, but so we did have a small parking lot that we built there several years ago, and I want to give you a little history because this is a good idea.
Okay.
When the McCrory fire happened, we went out and got a HUD Community Development Block Grant, and we put in a new street. We put in the parking lots behind Dunkin' Donuts and behind JR's. And we crossed the street there, and we were selling lots for people to rebuild, and several did. But the progress stopped there. We kept the 15-foot easement and built a smallish parking lot in the back, which, you know, I think a lot of people really didn't know that that was a parking lot. But And then a couple months ago, Nancy brought this up that, hey, can't you expand that lot? Can't you poke through to the basketball area? Can't you walk to the rail trail from there? The mayor asked me to look into it. I looked at the yard more carefully about how messy it was, and right now it looks really bad in this photograph because we've moved stuff out of garages to remove it, to remove these garages and organize ourselves because we'll be in a smaller space.
Right.
But the parking lot will be a lot larger, and it'll kill several birds with one stone. It'll make a nice connection to the rail trail. We're going to enlarge the basketball court a little bit and put a basketball hoop at the other end and connect to the rail trail, a pedestrian connection, not. So we've had fun so far cleaning up. It's long overdue. Apologize for that. And but our masonry crew is doing this basically in-house. And I think it'll be pretty dramatic when the sheds, we're keeping 2 bays of the shed next to the salt shed. And I think it'll be fairly dramatic when that is sawed off, removed, and rebuilt on the ends.
I was out there on Sunday morning just checking it out, and it's really dramatic just what removing all the vines has done and just clearing the back end of the yard. And when that shed comes out, it's really going to be, I think, a neat space, not just for parking, but it'll make a nice visible connection to the rail trail and to this basketball court. So we're optimistic that it's going to be a really nice improvement. And like you said, like maybe down the road, we could look at expanding it, but we're going to try it kind of on a small scale in terms of the parking right now and see if that makes a difference and take it from there.
And we're going to get a sign directing people.
We need some signage.
A blue sign.
Is Santana going to leave that building there, or are you going to take it down?
Which
On
one?
the corner of Mill and Cannon.
No, we're keeping it. Wait,
Shed?
Mill, you mean the
Mill and
shipyard?
Yeah. Are you going to leave that there, or are you going to take it?
We don't have any plans to do anything with it. So, I mean, it's not really, we don't really even own it. So we couldn't, I don't know if we could even demolish it if we wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
You don't own it?
There's 2 buildings.
one.
The one where the Sultana was built, which is like the covered.
It's the red building.
No.
And there's the front building that they built, the workshop. And that, right now, our relationship with the Sultana is they have a no-cost lease there, and they're welcome to be there. It's been renewed. I don't know if it has been recently by the, but they've been a good tenant. When they're done with it, I think our contract says they are to remove the building or it becomes ours.
It would be nice if it became ours and somebody could put a bike shop.
You know what? I'll dig up the leases for you if you guys want to talk about it. It's something that we haven't touched, and like I said, we're reorganizing our yard, and I think we'll be more efficient in our yard. Some of those things where we collect metals before they get taken away, we're going to compartmentalize that. We're going to sort of bury it so trucks can back up and drop it in at that day, not 2 days later or 10 days later. So it's really making us, and we had a lot of our, not our pyrotechnics, but our mortars for our fireworks shows, which we're not allowed to have fireworks this big or this big anymore anyway. So those mortars are too large to use. They're being moved out to another location. So made us clean ourselves up. Plus it's a little fun.
What's the surface in there?
There is asphalt underneath almost all that surface.
Oh, that's too bad.
And there's a storm drain system that the state highway built that facility in 1944.
Wow.
And then it was sold to the county, and when the county upgraded, they sold to us. So it really, we're going to renew the storm drain system and try to improve it as far as,
Runoff.
sediment control and runoff. Yep, slow it down, and like I told you, the other things we're going to do.
So if there's any resurfacing, I'd like to see us put something that's pervious.
Well,
If it's already there, it's all
we
right.
definitely want to be friendly to our neighbors to the north and to the south. I mean, so we will, this will have a curb that runs along it, so that, but we do want to control the water within the parking lot. And we may use pervious pavers or pervious concrete like we did at the north end of Mill Street. Had a lot of fun doing that. But anyway, we'll do it within a budget. If it
Thanks,
becomes a
Alan.
budget
Thank you.
item, we'll bring it to the council in our budget period coming up. But for right now, we're cleaning up and doing this on the cheap.
Are there any questions or comments from the audience tonight? Yes.
First of all, Marty, if you have something that you'd like to take to the C2 with comments or thoughts or ideas, that would be wonderful. That would really be helpful.
I mainly wanted to be there to listen, but that's why I say I can read it, please.
Yeah, I think we'll all be there for that, but if you have something that would be great, if you
Thank you very much.
send something. When I spoke about, when I gave a formal proposal to the town council about the parking about 2 months ago, that's not for me personally, it was from the Downtown Association, and it was to also be part of a larger marketing, parking package, and that includes the meters, which Linda was doing the survey on, and also the entrance into the rails to trails should not be open during the week, because it was really that parking was for merchants, so we could get the merchants, and they would have a specific place to go with their name on it. If we don't have that, we have the same problem we have now, which is go find a parking place. And that it was all, part of that package was to have proper signs, one that gets a merchant parking lot from Monday to Friday, and then the parking on the other side of town was clearly marked as a visitor parking. So I don't want in this, as it goes along, that those things are forgotten, because in a year, we'll have a much better idea whether we truly do have a parking problem or not. So I'd like to emphasize that, that part of the proposal that was made a couple months ago.
Okay.
But you're not suggesting that employees might not want to walk out on the trail, are you? I mean, a pedestrian crossover.
No, but you know what
Okay, right?
happens, if we don't have a specific parking place, if we're going to test this out,
Mhm.
the merchants have to have a place that they know that they can park. On the weekends, when the bikes are there, it's no problem, leave the gates wide open. But if the parking lot gets filled with everyone else during the week, and then there's no place for merchants to park, we're right back in the same spot we were before, and they'll start parking in front of their shops again. So I would consider this a year of testing, but unless we have a real solid plan for the test, it's not going to be a test.
Okay. Yes, sir.
First of all, I just want to thank everybody, particularly Bill, for making the whole process with the Bluebirds happen so quickly. And lastly, I've already received a request from one of my neighbors, can we peek in? And really, that would sabotage the whole program if passerbys stop and go peeking into the boxes. Bluebirds do spook easily, and if you come up to the box, they're gone. And if they have eggs in there or babies in there, they're at risk. So I'd like to ask everyone to be patient and watch from the walkway.
Okay.
Thanks.
Ernie, I will post that on our new bulletin board when we get it up.
There you go.
I guess we got to
Disturb
put a
the
rush
bluebirds.
on the bulletin board too, huh?
And I won't even charge you for that one.
Any other comments? Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Green beer. There's got to be green beer somewhere.
Am I making the motion or am I seconding?
You have to make the motion, because I
I'll
can't.
make a motion.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Before my voice goes out, yes.
Any opposed? We are unanimously adjourned.
Hey, Ernie, I love you.
Bill, do you want this?
He goes, Mom.
Yeah. Did Marty sign it? Yep.
Can we get copies of the...